Hi, my name is Jo Bingham and welcome to my channel. So today's short video is just a demonstration of painting an old wooden door, but I've tried to include a few techniques and a few tips along the way. So if you do like this video, could you please like and subscribe? That would be amazing. Thanks very much. So I'll see you in a minute with some painting. Right, this is the photograph that I'm going to be painting from. Right, so I've drawn up the door on a block of 300 GSM cold pressed watercolour paper. Now, I've made sure that I have drawn the wooden sections of the door and the latch very carefully, but I haven't worried too much about the cracks in the plaster. Okay, well, I've already wet the large area around the door, and as I've got a lot of dried paint on my palette, I'm just going to use one of them for the rendered wall. Now, this can be any colour that you choose, really. Just use it really diluted. So you're just tinting the paint. Okay, so go right up round the door, but leave the areas of the cracked plaster, the plaster that's fallen off, leave that free of paint. Watercolour paint dries a lot lighter, so even if you think, oh my goodness, this looks a bit dark, don't worry about it. It will dry. It's usually about 20 to 30% lighter. So, it's going to look great by the time that you have finished. So now we have to wait for it to dry completely before we start the door. Okay, so now that the background is dry, we're going to tackle the door, working in sections. So I am starting with the lintel so that you can see that I've wet it first, then I'm dropping in some colour. Now I'm only using two colours. They are a Jackson, that's the brand, it's Jackson's, and I'm using indigo and Van Dyke brown. So I'm now working on the broad panel. So always sort of separate the panels when you're painting them so that they don't run in. Now, if you notice, it's very dark under that lintel, so I'm going to be dropping in thicker mixes of the two colours right at the top because I want that to be really dark. But the rest you can do whatever you like, just so long as it's mottled and it's not all the same colour. And then that will be a great base upon which to then do your knots and your grain. So just continue working on each piece of wood separately. So wet it first, drop the colours in, and then push them around. I'm working with a number 10 round brush, which holds quite a lot of water, and it has a good point at the tip of the brush, and it enables me to, to be quite accurate when I'm painting. Can you see that I'm still following through consistently with putting the dark at the top, underneath the lintel, and towards the bottom? So dropping those colours in, spreading it around. By only using the two colours, you're going to maintain that consistency throughout the door. On the top layers, if you want to, you can add some more colours in, but I would encourage you to stick to a limited palette. It will look more cohesive at the end. Right, you'll see that I've switched my palette around to the other side. As a right-handed person, I find it much easier having my palette on the right-hand side and my photograph on the left. So you do whatever suits you. So I'll switch to the smaller round brush, which is a number 4 round, for the narrower panels. And I'm working around the painting, straightening lines, outlining the door latch, and making sure that the shadows are consistent. The smaller brush allows me to be more accurate and get straighter lines. Now you can take your time when you're doing this and really enjoy watching how the watercolour moves around your paper. So if you are enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then you'll get those notifications every time I upload a video. Okay, as I keep going, you'll notice that I'm trying to leave that lighter area in the middle of the panel, as per the photograph. If you make it too dark, when you come to doing all of your knots and grain, you won't be able to see them. So, you've got to make sure that when you're at this stage, that when you're painting your wood panels, don't make them too dark. And can you see there's some cross pieces at the bottom, so the grain's going to go in the other direction? So just little things like that are really important when you come to doing, your underlayers. Okay, just spacing out those last bits now. Okay, I have put some neutral tint out on my palette now. So I'm going to be using neutral tint to put the details in. So you can see I've already put the brown where the plaster's fallen off. I have just painted brown in there, and I'm going around the edges and I'm doing the fun bits. I'm putting all the cracks in, I'm putting the details in, and yes, I have switched my paper around a little bit because I find it really hard to paint with paper straight, or with, certainly not when it's taped onto a table. So now I'm using this brush to put the details in with a neutral tint. Now you can make neutral tint with either mixing your primaries or your complementaries, but this is a tailor-made. So you can see how, you know, just by putting a few details in, you saw how simple it was to put the underwashes, and then you just put a few lines and knots in and it transforms it. Love it. Okay, so you will have seen me dabbing my brush on a piece of kitchen paper. I do this most times before I paint when I'm doing detail work, because I don't want a globule of water running into my paintwork. I'm putting the final touches to my door now, so you'll see that I'm using the mix of the 3 colours, predominantly the neutral, but you know, I'm bringing the brown and the indigo into it as well. So by putting these darks, you're adding contrast to those light areas, and make sure that you don't paint them, you know, you don't overpaint the light areas, because that's what gives it, I don't know, you know, that real appearance rather than it all being dark. See, so you're putting shadows along the bottom of the door, a bit more grain across the top, and then just the render at the side of the door. And that's it for the door. Okay, I'm just going to quickly put some grass in at the bottom. I'm using a rigger brush, which is invaluable for when you're painting grass or anything like, you know, trees or anything. I'm just putting a bit of a pathway in and some grass. Now this is going to be hard to see, but I just wanted to put some flowers around the grass. So I have put some white gouache, some I think rose madder and lemon yellow onto my plate, and now I am just spattering it. It is hard to see, but it's there. And if you wanted to make it a bit brighter, that's up to you. But I just thought it sort of finished off the painting, really, to put some colour on it. So I really hope that you've enjoyed the video. As I said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.